Time shot, it's time shot. I'm in the place where my friends are, and I know together we'll go far. Yeah, time shot, it's time shot. And I'm still doing things the time shot way.
Hello, people. It's Poet and we're back on TimeShot. I don't have any food, and why do I have a magma block, a random magma block in my inventory? I logged in and I just have this magma block and no recollection of how it came to be. I have no idea. Anyway, let's see. So, Christmas came and went. What are we going to talk about? I guess we should talk about the year in review kind of thing. Might seem kind of like a pretty easy episode, but that's because I kind of need it to be. And I'll explain that too in a second. Not that all these episodes are going to need to be easy episodes, but, well, you'll see what I mean. Where can I... You know what? I got to just head to spawn, I think, to grab some food. I think is the best thing for me, because this fish is going to run out. I swear I had way more than this. In fact, I know I did. But anyway. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so saying Christmas came and went is sort of skipping ahead a lot, because that's already December. Let's start back in, like, well, you got to think about how did the whole year go? How did the whole, from last January, basically, all the way to now. And it's been a very interesting... Why do I have... You know what? I'm going to put this magma block away. Quartz. Put that away. All this other andesite and granite and stuff. Throw that away. Cobble I can store for now. Alright. And... Eh? How are those in there? Well. Alright. So... This whole year went by so fast. And I know that people say that all the time. It's somewhat of a cliche when they think about the year. It goes by so fast, but it seems that way definitely when I think back to, like, you know, in January of last year, I wasn't with Win. I wasn't with any of my loved ones. Like, it was just sort of me on my own. And that's just how it was. And it's crazy to think about that. That I had this huge gap where I couldn't go to the United States. Not that I was, like, not permitted to, but just that I couldn't afford to. And that gets me into the whole talk about, you know, I was kind of in financial dire straits there for a little bit. And it's nothing new. It's nothing like I haven't been there before, which is sad to say. You know, you often talk about your ancestors in that they had it really tough and that they worked really hard all their lives with very little to get where they were, so that you, the ancestors, would have a better life. You know. Ah. Go. This is the kind of food I want. Since I basically gave all my iron to Jake the other day, I can't buy fish and chips from the other JFC. Just fish and chips. But anyway, yeah, they talk about your ancestors having it tough, and certainly they did. You know, the pioneers, they had it real tough. Not just in the fact that they didn't have the luxuries of today, like, you know, forced air heating, air conditioning, television, internet, they had it really rough. You're basically a step up from sleeping on stone floors in a cave. That's how it feels like to me when I think back to the pioneers and how bad they had it. But that's not what I'm talking about. Not like the luxuries of life, but more like, I know that my relatives going back were not very well off. Not a lot of them. Most of the people in my direct ancestry were fairly poor on both sides of my family, going back generations and generations, to the point where they really had to move to a place like Canada, to the place like the prairies of Canada, where they hoped that they could build a little bit of a farm, work up from there. But my family was never very well off, and for me, I feel like, unfortunately, that kind of historical look back, I gotta wonder to myself, well, how would they think about me talking about them like that? If they were all alive today, these ancestors of mine, what would they think about me saying, oh, they were very poor, they, this kind of talk? The funny thing is that, when I think about it, my ancestors will likely say the same, in that I wasn't very well off and I didn't have very much. And it's true. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And I've done my best, but like I say, I'm no stranger to hardships. In fact, like when I first started YouTube, when I first started doing YouTube full time, there was a long period of time where I just was not making any money whatsoever. And it was sort of the transition period between me doing it full time and me doing it part time. When I was doing it part time, I wasn't making a killing, but just enough to, be comfortable making a living. In that time, I was not doing very well financially, honestly, when I first started doing YouTube. And what happened was it finally started to pick up, and then things were great. Things were good. But then, having to support two families, and I'm not blaming or accusing the fact that I started to have to support another family here as being the end-all be-all reason why I started to struggle financially, because honestly, that was happening either way. But yeah, it was one of those things where I was sort of used to that way of life already, budgeting, eating very little, a little bit of rice one day, a little bit of peanut butter and bread being my favorite thing. That was a lot of tea. I drank a lot of tea. You fill yourself up by drinking liquids, and I always felt like if I'm drinking tea, it's got a whole bunch of nutritional values to it. At least, I might not be eating very well, but at least I'm eating something that will sort of sustain me. Sort of a weird way of looking at it, but that's genuinely what I felt. Either way, I had to deal with frozen pipes and stuff. That was years ago, but it was always something that I had to think about every year around, February, March. Frozen pipes in my house. That's the place I was living. It was so cold that your pipes would freeze in your house. In fact, I just got a text message this morning. My dad actually lives in my old house now. It's sort of how we got past me having to sell it quick before I came to Michigan, and he's sort of like the caretaker there. He pays rent to me every month, and that's that. But he texted me this morning and said that his pipes froze this morning, and that he had a very, 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 very cold shower because there was only cold water coming through. So, it still happens after all this time. It still happens. So that was something that I always had to deal with. Never fun. That is never, ever fun to have to deal with something like that. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But anyway, that was kind of the winter. Going into the spring, it was everything we were doing at that point was about the fiance visa thing, getting that all done, getting that all ready. How come this is like... Oh, it's this tunnel in the middle that's off, and because of that, it makes me feel like this whole thing is off. The fiance visa thing was what we were trying to file, and we would get word back, like we'd apply, and then we'd get info back saying like, oh, well, that's great, but you need this extra thing. And then it would be like weeks and weeks before we'd hear back again. And it was just so tense. And, we just wanted to get married. We just wanted to live together. We just wanted to be together. And the whole system was stressful, hectic. Wynn was able to visit me, at least for a little bit. I think she came in March or April, around that time. So that was nice. But... it was still all part of she couldn't stay because of her kids and because of work and all of this. So she had basically just started working at that point. And, she had been working before that, but she got a better job with Mixer at that point. So, that was much, much, much better at that point. Because I felt bad. Me and Wynn were fine. We were perfectly okay. We were thinking like, okay, we can do this. This is going to be a great life that we have together. And I was saying to her like, well, it doesn't make sense that you're working because YouTube's bringing enough money that we can very easily be happy with what we've got now. This needs to go up 4, 5, 6, like to there. How did that happen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that's right. This needs to go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this last one is covered. What? Is this? I think this hall needs to be pulled away. I don't know. I'm gonna shape this with the quartz eventually, coming down from there. So this is all gonna change. But in any case, just keep working from here. In any case, it was another one of those things where financially we just were struggling again. So she had to get a job. I felt really bad about that because I was the one who convinced her, like, no, you don't need to keep a day job, going into work, hating work, when YouTube is bringing in X amount of dollars every month to support both of us. That doesn't make sense. And then when it just wasn't, like, snap of your fingers, quick, literally from one month to the next, it was like, oh, well, I guess you do need to get a job now. Sorry for making you quit that great job that you had. It wasn't that great, but it paid well. Where am I? Huh? I need torches so bad. Yep, I need torches. I'm gonna go get torches. So yeah, that was kind of how that all went. And then you fast forward a little bit more to the point where, our fiance visa is starting to really, really shape up. More so than it was before. Like, we were starting to hear word back, and it was all positive words. And Wynn at that point was not dealing with it very well. Admittedly, she was upset about it because although the logical part of your brain tells you, everything's going to be fine. This is what everyone goes through. This is all part of the process. You're going to be okay. Everybody has to go through this. Although the logical part says that, the illogical part basically tells you that it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. We're never going to get married. They're going to find something wrong. You're going to get denied. There's still a chance that you might not ever be able to move here. And then what? And that kind of thought was really eating away at her. I was doing my best to make the most of it, but I've actually had the same kind of thoughts in my head too. So, finally we started to get word back that it was positive words, like, okay, you've been approved for this thing. Okay, now schedule this medical exam. Okay, and now you've been approved for this. Schedule this. And, it was starting to get to the point where, okay, this is going well. This is going well. When's it going to go bad, And I actually had to fly to Vancouver, Canada, which is on the West Coast, to get myself a medical done. That was the second physical I had in like as many weeks. I had a physical in Winnipeg, where I was from, and then because it was going to be way, way, way cheaper, like way cheaper, and then ended up that they didn't do everything properly. Like, that's, how do I word that? It was proper, but I don't know if I need this much stone. I think I'm just going to chuck it. It was a proper medical, but it could have been more, like, it wasn't for immigration purposes, I guess, is the best way to say it. So I had this medical done, and it wasn't quite done right. So I had to basically, when I went to Vancouver, I thought I was saving money. Ended up that, it cost about the same. And those are expenses that I still, to this day, don't really understand how I paid for it. It was largely like donations were coming in. You guys watching were helping. And, that was all part of it. So I was able to fly to Vancouver, have my medical done, get poked and prodded, needles and all the works, blood work, x-rays. Then, like the week after, I flew to Montreal, Canada, which is more towards the eastern side. Well, it is on the eastern side of Canada, but not like East Coast quite. But anyway, French Canada, yep, I was there and had my interview where you basically have to get scrutinized. Like, do you love this person? Yes or no? Answer the question. And so that's what happened there. And after all that was done, you get your approval basically almost on the spot. And it's such a relief. It's such a load off, being told, yes, you do have approval. Then me and Wynn, she flew out to Winnipeg, and we packed my car, it has really no room for moving. And we drove all the way to Michigan with it. 16 hours of road, but it took us a good 23 hours to drive there. Almost 24 hours on the nose. And now we're here. I had Christmas with my family, my new family, basically. New Year's is coming up, and I'm gonna enjoy that. I'm gonna try to see. They never really celebrated New Year's here, which is something that I didn't celebrate birthdays, and Christmas was never a big thing. It was always about the meal and getting together with family more than presents and stuff. But New Year's was always a special thing kind of too, where you would have like a very nice meal on New Year's, like a steak and shrimp dinner with, the ball dropping in New York in the background or something, with the countdown, or at least watching the local one, fireworks. So this is my opportunity, I think, kind of to have some sort of a little bit of a nice little event. So I might just cook some steaks and some shrimp and lobster or something and make the most of it. I also got a new job. Kind of skipped over that part too. That was around, I got hired in July, but didn't start until September. That's how long the application and the getting the paperwork signed and all of that took. It was kind of crazy that it took that long, but, you know, kind of had to, I guess. Me being Canadian. And being hired by an American company. So that's sort of how that happened. And yeah, what else can I say? It's been an interesting year. Finances are starting to pick up to the point now where, yeah, we can think about maybe going on a little vacation here and there if we want, if we choose. We can easily pay all of our bills. I can start building my credit in the U.S. And, you know, it's starting to become more of a... It's easier than it was, for sure. Looking back even to the beginning of the year, so much easier. I came from eating peanut butter on bread every day of the week, and now I'm talking about, you know, oh, for New Year's I might make steak and lobster. So it's certainly looking better. We're not rich or anything for sure, but, you know, it's still better than it was. And 2018, it's looking like it's going to be hopefully continuing that trend and looking better and better and better. For places like TimeShot, I have high hopes. I always do every year. I know that, you know, looking around, I see builds that are basically abandoned. I don't see a lot of action from anyone else, but I still truck away at it. I still enjoy it. I always said, you know, even if I have to treat this like a single player experience, I'd be very willing to do that for you guys, for myself, because I like to talk and I like to discuss things like this. Now, the one thing that I didn't discuss, that I said I was going to talk about, why this had to be kind of a quick one, was because I've started to try to get my schedule back on track. I'm recording these before I go into work. Okay, so like, if I start work at 10 o'clock, I record this around 9 o'clock. Try to get in and get it done before the work day, because then I have time to render, edit, upload, all that kind of during the day. Like if I have a 10-minute break, I'll quickly go and edit the episode out. And then after another 10-minute break here and there, I'll start the upload, you know, drag and drop. And then another 10-minute break, I might get the description done, you know, and that's how it goes. Slow process, and it still only gets the episodes out, like, usually by, you know, when I'm done work, but at least they're getting out. I'm going to try to get that. I've done that for the last 4 days, I think, and it's worked out pretty good so far, so I'm not complaining about it. I like how it's going so far. So we're going to just try to keep up with that for a while, see how it works. And still I don't know when the streaming schedule is coming back, because despite me recording before I go to work, I don't think it would be possible to stream. That's just, to me, a little bit too much to expect from me in the morning. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll use the time that I was using for recording here and there to stream. I don't know. But will I be able to schedule around that? I don't know either. So either way, it's all stuff that I'm thinking about, I'm working on coming into 18. So we're working on improving, and it's funny that I have to talk about improving after like doing this for 6-7 years. Feels like, has it been? I don't know. For a while anyway, 6 years for sure. And here I am still talking about improving my channel and doing what I need to do to get it out there and get it up there. But yeah, it's all part of it. It's the life I chose, you know. So anyway, that's where I'm going to end the episode, because I am going to be late for work if I don't. And we'll see you guys next time in TimeShot. Let me know in the comments below what your New Year's resolutions are going to be. What are you looking to improve? How do you think I should improve, even? If you want to tell me that, I don't mind. What are you looking forward to seeing from TimeShot in 2018? What are you looking forward to seeing in my channel in 2018? Maybe that new Jurassic World game or something like it. I don't know. Let me know, and we'll see you guys next time on TimeShot. Bye-bye.